Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, we'd like to welcome all of the wonderful devotees who have joined us over YouTube Live, devotees who've joined us over Facebook Live, and dear devotees who have joined us over Zoom. We welcome each and every one of you to this day 23 of Sri Vraja Meditations 2.0. Before we continue, we'd like to announce and congratulate the participants from the quiz session from yesterday. We'd like to congratulate Hari Prasad Prabhu, Mother Amrita Radhika, Anjudi, Shimanta Dvi Prabhu, Vaijayanti Lalita Mataji, Meetanjali Pradhan Mataji, Tithi Mitra Mataji, Nutan Purohit Mataji, Hari Krishna Madhali Prabhu, and Ananga Mohini Gopika. Thank you all so much for participating in the quiz session from yesterday.
So today we will discuss in Sri Vraja Meditations 2.0 in our day 23. Why did Lord Balaram change the flow of Yamuna? That's the topic for today, where we walk from Shergarh to Chirghat, then to Ramghat. We come to Khelavan again, Viharvan, Akshayavat, then we go to Tapovan, then we visit Sri Katyayani temple, beautiful serene place, and right behind Katyayani temple is Chirghat. And then at all these places, we will offer our heartfelt prayers at these Lila Sthalis, and we take rest for the night at Chirghat. And at the end, we'll discuss the glories of Kartik and a sweet pastime to enhance our Japa.
Haribo. So
let us offer our humble obeisances at our starting point here at Shergarh before we start our parikrama. And let us take blessings of Sri Sri Radha Damodar, Srila Prabhupada, and our Guru Vargas, begging them to please allow us to complete our parikrama of Sri Vraja Mandal. We understand that by doing this parikrama, we are engaged in Pada Sevanam. By walking in the Lord's holy town, we are directly serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Let us pray here. O Lord Damodar, just as Mother Yashoda bound you with the rope of her love, we beg you to please allow us to bind you and your dearest Sri Radhe in our hearts with our loving parikrama. With this wonderful prayer, feeling deeply ecstatic, we will continue our parampara today for around 20 parikrama today for around 24 kilometers. Parikrama, parampara, take your pick. In parikrama, we are following the footsteps of the great souls in parampara. So here's the map of Sri Vraja Mandala, showing where we have covered so far in the yellow line. And the green is the place where we start. The red is the place where we take rest at Chirghat, and in between the milestone in orange. Here's the map showing the route that we will take today, going from Shergarh to Chirghat. So while doing kirtan ecstatically, we arrive at our first destination today, which is Ramghat.
Jai 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 Shri Ramghat ki Jai. So this wonderful, this serene place of Shri Ramghat, it lies on the banks of the Yamuna. It is just 2 miles east of Shergarh. And remember what we had talked about when we were in between the parikrama, around 15th day, we talked about something that towards the last week of the parikrama, our feet has now become hard, and the roads, the pathways have now become excessively soft. So from today, we will experience the softness of the road while we are coming to Sri Ramghat, because we're almost going to be walking on the banks of the Yamuna, on the shores of the Yamuna. It's very, very, very beautiful, extremely serene walk. And Sri Balaramji, he performed his rasa dance here, and therefore this place is known as Ramghat, meaning Sri Balaram Ghat. So after staying in Dwarka, when Krishna Balaram left, when they were in Dwarka for a long time after leaving Vrindavan, Krishna actually sent Balaramji to Vrindavan in order to relieve the Vrajavasis of their intense feelings of separation from Krishna. See, Krishna, although he was not able to come personally, he was sending, from time to time, he was sending his messengers to come to Vrindavan to restore the life in the Brajvasis. So he was sending Lord Balaram, he sent Uddhava, and then he finally came the third time, the last time. So in this way, Balaramji, he is the giver of pleasure of his dear devotees. And when he came to Vrindavan, he infused new life into the inhabitants of Vraja by his presence here. And at that time, when Balaramji came, he came here to this particular place of Ramghat with the gopis of Vraja, and he performed his rasa dance here. Now, we must very, very clearly understand something, that the gopis with whom Lord Balaram enjoyed his rasa dance, they are completely a different set of gopis than Sri Krishna's gopis. So it is not Lalita, Vishakha, or of course not Srimati Radharani, but Sri Balaramji's gopis are different set of gopis with whom Lord Balaram enjoyed his rasa dance. So while he was enjoying here with the gopis, he transcendentally was intoxicated with the Varuni beverage, which is nothing but honey. So Lord Balaram, after he was so transcendently intoxicated, he desired to enjoy the company of the gopis in the waters of the Yamuna, and therefore he ordered Yamuna, come here, Yamuna. And Yamuna Devi, considering Lord Balaram, she was a little illusioned. She considered Lord Balaram to be in an intoxicated state. She ignored Lord Balaram's orders. And thus Lord Balaram was very displeased. And Balaramji then scratched the land near the river at Ramghat. So we can see Lord Balaram always carries his plow. So he just, kind of threatened Yamuna that if you don't come, I will pull you. And when Balaramji threatened Yamuna Devi, she immediately realized the position of Lord Balaram, and immediately she came in person. Personification of Yamuna Devi came, and she fell at the lotus feet of Balaramji and offered him beautiful prayers right here at this place. So when Yamuna Devi, when she came and displayed such submissive attitude, Yamuna Devi was immediately forgiven. And when she came nearby, Balaramji then went into her waters and enjoyed there with the gopis right here at Sri Ramghat. So even till today, we see, if we go to this place just behind this temple of Ramghat, we will see that Yamuna is actually having a straight flow. But right here at Ramghat, there are, 4 or 5 distributaries that are coming towards the temple. This is a very beautiful, very beautiful Lila, very beautiful pastime. So this is how this beautiful temple at Balaramji at Ramghat, this is the banyan tree where Balaramji performed his rasa dance. So here, Sri Balaramji, the deity here is called as Khiche Daoji Maharaj ki jai.
Khiche Daoji Dayal
Dayal Maharaj ki jai.
So here at Ramghat, we pray to Balaramji for spiritual strength, for overcoming all the obstacles of lust, envy, anger, pride, and illusion, and the mercy of Balaramji, which flows through the spiritual master and previous acharyas as the Adi Guru. His mercy is the only hope for overcoming these insurmountable obstacles. We can also pray to Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Balaramji to awaken in our hearts these genuine feelings of loving surrender to grant us the supreme benediction of tasting the nectar of the holy names. Jai Shri Khiche Dao Dayal Maharaj Ki Jai.
And this deity, he's actually made out of white marble. And if you zoom in this picture, we will see that in his left hand, Lord Balaram is holding a glass of Varuni, and in his right hand, he is giving the blessing. He's a very, very, very small deity, but very sweet looking Lord Balaram. Khiche Dao. Khiche means the Daoji who pulled. Khichna in Hindi means to pull. So that's why he's called as Khiche Daoji Dayal Maharaj Ki Jai.
So next we arrive at Khelavan and Viharvan. Krishna would go early in the morning with all his cowherd boys to the forests, where they would then assemble together and they'll take lunch. And as soon as he got up from the bed, Mother Yashoda would get him ready and packed to go to the forest. Keeping the calves before them, Krishna and Balaram, they would start for the forest in a great procession along with their cowherd boyfriends. And they were each equipped with a stick, a flute, a horn, as well as the most important lunch bag. And each of them was taking care of thousands and thousands of cows. All the boys, they appeared very jolly, very happy in that excursion. Each and every one of them, including Krishna, was so attentive to his personal calves as he herded them in the different places in the forest. And the boys, they were fully decorated with various kinds of golden ornaments, yet out of their sporting propensities, they began to pick up flowers and leaves and twigs and peacock feathers and red clay from here and there, different places in the forest, and further decorated themselves in spite of having these golden ornaments, further decorated themselves in different ways. And while passing through the forest, one cowherd boy, he stole another boy's lunch package and passed it to a third. And when the boy whose lunch package was stolen came to know of it, he tried to take it back, but the boy who had threw it to another boy. This sportive playing went on amongst the boys as childhood pastimes. And Krishna came here at this distant place in Khelavan and Viharvan in order to see some specific scenery and show his cowherd friends and the calves, make them enjoy this specific scenery in Khelavan and Viharvan. And then the boys behind him ran to try to catch up and see who would be the first to touch Krishna. And there would be a great competition. One of the cowherd boyfriends would say, I will go there and touch Krishna first. And another would say, no, you cannot go. I'll touch Krishna first. And some of them played on their flutes or vibrated bugles made of buffalo horn, and some of them gladly they followed the peacocks and imitated the sounds of the cuckoo bird. Now in this competition, we say, hey, in the spiritual world, I thought there is no competition. It's only there in the material world. But here, cowherd boyfriends, they are competing. I will touch Krishna first. No, I will touch Krishna first. It's the same thing as in the spiritual world, as in the material world. Even though the action looks the same as in the material world, their consciousness is completely spiritual. And here Srila Prabhupada explains, our great acharyas explain how his consciousness, their consciousness is different from material consciousness. When one cowherd boyfriend says, I want to touch Krishna first, internally, he is hoping that this will inspire the other cowherd boyfriend to go touch Krishna first. And that his prayer is, let me come last, but let me inspire everyone to go in front of me. That way we will all come to Krishna faster, and that will give pleasure to Krishna, that all of us are so eager to come to him. That is the consciousness. The consciousness is not, I will come first and I will touch and you all are defeated. No, I am saying I will touch Krishna first. It will inspire all of you, and we will all together show our eagerness to Krishna and please him. So
Haribo.
while the birds, they were flying in the sky, the boys would run after the birds' shadows along the ground and try to follow their exact courses as the birds would fly from here and there in different arcs. Some of them went to the monkeys and silently sat down by them, and some of them then began imitating the dance of the peacocks. Some of them caught the monkeys by the tail and played with them, and the monkeys, when they jumped to the tree, the boys also followed and they jumped on the tree. When a monkey showed its face and teeth, a boy imitated and showed his teeth to the monkey. Some of the boys, they played with the frogs on the bank of the Yamuna. And when out of fear, the frogs would jump into the water, the boys would immediately dive in after them. And when the boys came out of the water and saw their own shadows, they would stand imitating, making caricatures and seeing those caricatures and their shadows and began laughing. And then they would also go to an empty well and make loud sounds. And when the echo came back, they would call it ill names and laugh. And here Krishna would also perform intimate pastimes with the gopis and Srimati Radharani. So here we can receive a vision of the spiritual world, what Krishna does when he is with his friends and playing in the forest.
Hari Haribo.
From here, we arrive at Akshayavat.
So Akshayavat is the place where Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys, they would hang their bundle of lunch. And in the cool shade of this huge tree, their lunches would actually remain absolutely fresh. So this is the Akshayavat, which would be like a refrigerator, in fact, which is provided by Mother Nature to serve Krishna and his dearly beloved Sakhas. It is a huge place. And last time when we were doing the parikrama, I remember we did Dandavat parikrama. Prabhu and myself, we did Dandavat parikrama of Akshayavat all around. There were cows there and so many devotees, so wonderful. It was really an amazing experience just doing Dandavat parikrama.
It was a Dandavat couple parikrama. So I would take one Dandavat, and then where my hands are, that's where Kalasudha would make one Dandavat. And where her hands reach, I would make the next Dandavat. So it was like a couple Dandavat.
Haribo. So this is Akshayavat, very, very special place in Vrajadham, which served as the refrigerator for Krishna to keep their lunch packs. This would be their lunch potli, how they would, Mother Jashoda and all the other cowherd ladies, they would pack all the prasadam and they will give like this. They would make like a lunch bag and then they would give it to Krishna. And if you see there, how the sakhas, they're all having their potlis, their little bags filled with their lunches, and they would hang it down on the Akshayavat's branches so that their lunch would remain nice and cool. So from here, we next arrive at our next destination. Again, the walk from here is a very, very, very serene walk through the fields and coming on to the shores of the Jamuna. We are walking again towards the shore of the Jamuna. Very, very beautiful. So we come to this exotic place, which is called as Tapovan.
Here in the month, right after Kartik, Marga Shirsha, Agrahayana, the gopis, they performed great tapasya, austerities. They would get up early in the morning, and this is a very, very cold month of November and December in Vrajadham. They would come here early morning, take bath in the Yamuna and worship goddess Katyayani. Let us take darshan of Shri Shri Radha Tapovan Bihari Ji Ki Jai.
Jai.
This is the Tapobhumi of Srimati Radharani and the Gopis. And there is so much calmness and inner satisfaction we get just by being here. It's covered with bushes and big, big trees around. And it's even in the thick of summer, it's so cool.
Haribo.
So let's pray here in this divine place that may we get the determination to make Krishna and his devotees the number one priority in our lives and dedicate our lives in service to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Haribol. Next, we can see by keeping Jamuna Maya on our left, right from Tapobhumi, we actually come down to the, walking again through fields, we come down and we literally, it's almost like a steep climb down, coming down to the banks of the Jamuna. And somehow or the other, we don't know from where, because my parents were there, Ma Baba were there, and both of us, and we saw that devotees were climbing down this, there was no road, it is coming through just fields, and through the fields we just have to get down into the almost near the banks of the Jamuna. Suddenly from somewhere, three little boys came with a plow in their hand, and they came just when we were about to come to that place. They just manifested, these boys, these little cowherd boys, they came and they made small steps right there for us. So because we were really concerned that how were Ma Baba going to get down from there, because it was a really down, we had to go down. So these boys, they just came, and right there in front of us, right there in the field, they made like, by digging the ground, they just made like steps.
In less than 3 minutes.
3 minutes, they made the steps, and we just walked down. And we were amazed that how these boys just manifested. And because of their mercy, we came and we were able to walk on these beautiful shores of the river banks of the Jamuna. And by walking here, we come to our next destination, which is the temple of Katyayani Devi. So all the unmarried gopis in Vrindavan, they used to daily worship goddess Katyayani in the month of, right after Kartik, in the month of Agrahayana. And they would, early morning, they would come here, they would take bath in the river Jamuna. And we know that Katyayani is another name for goddess Durga. So the goddess is actually worshipped. What they would do with the, right there in the shores of the Jamuna, they would take Jamuna mud and they would make a murti of the goddess Katyayani from the mud of the Jamuna. And the unmarried gopis, they used to prepare the deity of goddess Durga and worship her with sandalwood pulp, with garlands, with incense, with lamps, and all kinds of preparations. They would bring fruits, grains, and different twigs of plants. And after worshipping, it is the custom to actually pray for some benediction. So the unmarried girls, they had only one desire. And addressing her as follows, it is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in the Srimad Bhagavatam in 10th canto in chapter 22 in verse 4. What was the intense desire of the gopis?
So the unmarried girls, they used to pray, which is written in Bhagavatam 10th canto, 22nd chapter and verse 4. O supreme external energy of the personality of Godhead, O supreme mystic power, O supreme controller of this material world, O goddess, please be kind to us and arrange our marriage with the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna.
Katyayani Mahamaye,
Katyayani Mahamaye,
Mahayogini Adhishwari,
Mahayoginyadhishwari,
Nandagopa Sutam Devi,
Nandagopasutam Devi,
Patim me kurute namaha.
Patim me kurute namaha.
So right here, after taking bath at the Jamuna, which is the Chirghat, then we come here to take darshan of Katyayani Devi. This is the deity of Katyayani Devi right here at Chirghat. So Chirghat, as we know, is one of the most enchanting places on the banks of the river Jamuna. Now, we may remember that there is a Chirghat in Vrindavan that we went to. In fact, today also we came to another Khelavan, and the place where we started from, that is also called Khelavan. If we remember Shergarh, we started from Shergarh, that is also called as Khelvan. And today also we came to Khelvan and Viharvan, but that is after Ramghat. So how is this? But Khelavan, we should know that any place that Krishna plays is called as Khelavan. So there can be more than one Khelavan. There's no problem with that. And about Chirghat, yes, there is a place in Vrindavan when we were doing our Panchakrosh Parikrama. There is Chirghat there as well. But this is also the Chirghat where this actual pastime happened of Krishna stealing the garments of the unmarried gopis. So this is the place where the famous pastime of Krishna stealing the clothes of the young gopis of Vraja took place. So Krishna, because he was so pleased with the gopis, he came here to fulfill each of their desires to have him as their husband. So there's a very old Kadamba tree right here at this place, which is still there since Dwapar Yuga. And many devotees come here and they tie cloth just to ask for a benediction. So we should understand the gopis are all pure devotees of Sri Krishna, and they wanted to attain Sri Krishna as their husband. And at this very place, they performed the Katyayani Vrata, in which they would worship Mother Katyayani, and they prayed for Krishna to be their husband. So every day they would come, they would worship Mother Katyayani, and then on the last day of the entire month, after the 30 days, the last day Krishna came, when the gopis were, after worshipping Katyayani Devi, when the gopis were taking their bath in the Jamuna, at that time Krishna came and he fulfilled all the desire of the gopis. So devotees in Vrindavan still worship this wonderful Kadamba tree, and they make offerings to this Kadamba tree. So it is said by our acharyas that we cannot understand the pastimes of the Supreme Lord just by hearing it on a mundane level, but rather we should try to hear it from realized souls who have actually understood the Supreme Absolute Truth. And this pastime of Krishna stealing the gopis' clothes may seem to be a very mundane affair between young boy and some girls. But the real import of this pastime is the epitome of the soul's complete surrender to the Supreme Lord by giving up any attachment, especially the attachment of clothes, in the pretext of, when we are coming to Krishna, it is like giving up, surrendering our gross bodies, which are represented by our clothes. And then we are completely surrendering our gross body, our subtle body made up of mind, intelligence, and ego. We are surrendering everything to the lotus feet of Krishna. This is what actually this pastime signifies, that we, give everything to Krishna. So therefore, our prayer at this wonderful place must be,
Krishna, here I offer my life. I offer my false ego, my body, my mind, my words, my thoughts, everything to you. Please take it all away. so that my true self can be given as an offering at your lotus feet.
Haribo.
And we must be confident that if we offer our prayers sincerely unto this holy Kadamba tree, which is actually a wish-fulfilling tree, a Kalpa Vriksha tree, our prayers will definitely be heard and answered.
Hare Krishna.
So there was a Vrajbasi that I met here just outside Katyayani temple, and some of the Matajis were paying obeisances and taking bath in the Chirghat. And right here, I was sitting on the bench and chanting, and a Brajbasi just came and he started talking to me, started asking so many different questions. And in the end, he said, "Well, it was very nice meeting you. The only thing, can I make a suggestion?" I said, "Yes, sure, you should give me instruction." He said, "Well, I will say you have come for this Vrajamandal Parikrama. The purpose of this parikrama is to make friends with Brajvasis. So at least make one friend here in Braj during your Rajamandal Parikrama. So that is my request to you." And then after that, I was looking at him, he just left. And then I don't know where he went. We actually then were walking and to our camp at the night stay at Chirghat. And I was meditating upon it. I told Kalasudha and everyone. And then next day, this instruction was fulfilled. And we will tell tomorrow, we will share how this was fulfilled.
Hari Haribo.
And tonight we stay at Chirghat in the camp right here.
Haribo.
So let us discuss some glories of Kartik. A quote from Sri Padma Puran says that the pious results obtained by bathing in all the holy places and giving all the charities is not equal to even 1/10,000,000th part of the result obtained by following the vow of Kartik.
Haribol, Haribol. Jai Kartik Vrata ki Jai. So in this month, we will share with all of you a pastime that we can meditate upon before we start chanting our japa. And we'll see the effect that our japa is indeed elevated to a different level altogether. So remember, we were saying what happened in Akshayavat. So while Krishna, Balaram, and their dear friends were engaged in playing various games here at Akshayavat, the cows being unobserved because the boys, they got so busy in playing, the cows began to wander off on their own, and they entered farther and farther into the deepest part of the forest. They were allured by the fresh grass in this wonderful forest near Akshayavat, and they kept going farther and farther, and they traveled from one forest to the other, and this forest was so full of green grass. Therefore, these cows, they were allured, but when they entered, they saw, what did they see? That there was a big, big forest fire all around them. And seeing this forest fire, they just helplessly, they started mooing and they just started crying. And on the other side, Balaramji and Krishna, along with all their cowherd friends, they could not find their animals and they became very much disturbed. Where did they go? Where did they go? And they started seeing that there's some red fiery thing that is coming up, because when there's forest fire, it can be seen from such a great distance. So then they began to trace the cows by following the footprints as well as the path that was eaten, of the eaten grass that the cows had eaten. So they started following that and they came to where the cows were. And all the boys, they were, really concerned that our cows are stuck in the forest fire. What do we do? What do we do? So then Krishna, he started calling out the names of the cows. And then as soon as the cows, they heard their names being called, even the cows started doing moo, 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 and calling out to Krishna. And then Krishna just came running to them. But by this time, when Krishna came, the forest fire had just surrounded the cows from all sides. And when this situation was there, everyone became so fearful because the flames increased. And because, the forest fire spreads very rapidly. And with the flowing of the wind, it appeared that everything was getting devoured by this forest fire. And all the cows and even the cowherd boys, they became very frightened. And they all looked towards Krishna and Balaram the way that a dying man would actually look at the picture of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they said, "Oh, dear Krishna, you and Balaram are very, very powerful. We are now burning from the heat of this blazing fire. Please allow us to take shelter at your lotus feet. We know that only you can protect us from this great danger. Our dear friend Krishna, we are your intimate friends. You should not let us suffer in this way, Krishna. We are just dependent on you. And we do not know anyone other than you. Please help us, O Krishna."
So the personality of Godhead, he heard the appealing voices of his friends and he cast a pleasing glance over them. Very calm and cool, that kind of pacified the Vrajbasis and the cows and the calves. And he began to answer, speaking through his eyes. He impressed upon his friends there was no cause of fear. And through his eyes, he assured them as if speaking, "Don't worry." And he indicated, "Close your eyes."
Haribo.
Now imagine if we were in this situation where there's fire all over us, all around us, and someone comes and says, "Close your eyes." It's so difficult to close our eyes. Any time, anything can happen, any tree can fall, any branch can fall on us. But the Vrajbasis and the cows and the calves, they displayed this immense faith and surrender to Krishna against all odds, against what their mind must be telling them. The Vrajbasis closed their eyes. And then Krishna, the supreme mystic, the powerful personality of Godhead, he immediately, he just swallowed up all the flames of the fire. And the cows and boys, they were saved from imminent danger. And out of fear, these boys, they were almost unconscious. And even then, they followed Krishna's instructions. No one argued with Krishna. "Krishna, what do you mean, close my eyes? There's all these things going on." But when they regained their consciousness and opened their eyes, they saw that they were in front of the Akshayavat with Krishna, Balaram, and the cows. They were so astonished to see that they were completely free from the attack of the blazing fire, and the cows were saved.
And thus they continued their fantastic picnic under the shade, the cooling shade of Sri Akshayavat.
And so this is a story of surrender and faith, which tells us that Krishna can do anything. Krishna will reciprocate with our faith if we surrender to him with following his instructions. Then Krishna will reciprocate with that surrender.
Hari Hari Bol. So with this, we conclude today's session, and we'd like to dedicate a bhajan today. This is a song that is written by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and this song is sung during Mangalarti at the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. So we dedicate this bhajan to our dearest Rasika and her family, dearest Nutan Mataji and her family, our dearest Anjudi and her family, our dearest Hemangi Mataji's family, our dearest brother and his family, our dearest Krishna Sharanam Prabhu and Bhakti Mataji, our dearest Hari Prasad Prabhu, the family of our dearest Amrita Radhika, our dearest Keshavi and her wonderful family, and the devotees of Sikandrabad, Hyderabad congregation, and little Mehek.
Hare Krishna
We
Mataji.
pray to Lord Nrsingadev to please grant protection and fearlessness to everyone, and may Sri Damodar shower their mercy on all of us.
Haribo.
So, as always, we request everyone to please offer lamps to Sri Sri Radha Damodar during the bhajan. And it would be wonderful if you can turn on your cameras so that everyone can take darshan.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Vibhavari Shesha Aloka Pravesha Nidra Chadi Utho Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Haya Griva Nrsimha Vamana Shri Madhusudana Brajendra Nandana Shama Putana Ghatana Kaitava Chatana Jaya Dasharathi Rama Jashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bara Ravanantakara Makhana Tashkara Gopi Jana Vastra Hari Brajara Rakhala Gopa Vrindapala Chitta Hari Vamshidhari Yogindra Vandana Shri Nandanandana Braja Jana Mayahari Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bamshi Bihari Jashoda Nandana Kamsanishudana Nikunjara Savilasi Kadamba Kanana Rasaparayana Vrindavipina Nivasi Anandavardhana Prema Niketana Phulashara Jojakama Gopanganangana Chitta Vinodana Samasta Gunagana Dhama Jamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Namasudharasa Gao Krishna Jasha Rakha Vachana Mana Mora Vibhavari Shesha Aloka Pravesha Nidra Chadi Utho Jiva
Balaram ji ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Radha Damodar ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Gurudev ki
Jai.
jai. So today's quiz questions are: first, how did Ramghat get its name?
Second, why did Balaram pull Yamuna during his rasa dance?
Third, why did name the deity worshipped in Ramghat?
Fourth, explain the significance of Akshayavat.
Fifth, what is the prayer of unmarried gopis to Mother Katyayani?
And explain the significance of Chirghat. Thank you so very much, dear Hari Prasad Prabhu, for these fantastic quiz questions.
So let us open the lines for questions, comments, realizations, and reflections.
However, today we'd like to beg for forgiveness that we may have to end the call a little early. So please forgive us. In the next 10 minutes, we'll have to end the call today because we have another program that is scheduled in 7-8 minutes. So please forgive us that we'll continue the realizations tomorrow, but we can have for the next 5-7 minutes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Sharanam Prabhu.
Very nice lecture, very nicely explained. So,
We're not able to hear you.
Battery 100%. My favorite bhajan Mataji. Thank you.
Can you say now, Prabhu?
What is that, Prabhu? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Sharanam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes.
Yeah, Prabhu was saying it was nice bhajan, he was saying, Mataji.
Okay. Now we can hear. So sorry, there was some problem with the audio.
Yes, Mataji, I was also calling you, but you are not able to hear me. Like before bhajan, that Swarna, Lila Mataji. Swarna Mataji, you know that, Mataji?
Yes.
Yeah, her mother passed away yesterday. So I was saying, like, you pray, but you are not able to hear me.
I'm so sorry we didn't see that. So please, we do pray to Lord Nrsingadev, to Shri Radha Madhava, Shri Radha Damodar for the departed soul. And our heartfelt condolences to Suvarna Mataji. Hare Krishna. Today we are also celebrating the birthday of Shimantadvi Prabhu. So Prabhu, wish you a very, very happy birthday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Thank you for wonderful class. And I like that when you mentioned that your parents, they were not able to, the hill was steep and the three boys came and then did the steps. Krishna came in some disguise because and then vanished. So you're so blessed. So that was very nice to hear. And of course, the Ramghat where Lord Balaram performed his last line, and the Chirghat too. So thank you very much for sharing us this last time.
Thank you.
Chirghat.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Mataji,
Krishna,
can
Mataji.
I ask one question with your permission? Because you
Yes.
said you wanted to leave early.
Sure.
Yes, Mataji. Like yesterday, it was a Kartika Somaram. It's very auspicious day for us in India, like for us. If auspicious day, if someone leaves a body, they will go to like a Lord Shiva or Vaikunta, something like that. So, but sometimes devotees say that whatever the consciousness they have at the end, they will go there also. So, how we need to understand is it's not good, right? Like leaving body on auspicious day is not that much good, Mataji.
Well, leaving body on auspicious day does have benefits. It does, the auspicious days, weight also does get added on, for sure. But also, most importantly, that, yes, what is the consciousness of that particular person? And at that time, if that person is surrounded by chanting of the holy names, then any day, Jananiva's Prabhu says, any day, any moment can become auspicious, most auspicious, if the chanting of the holy names is going on. So, but yeah, that
So
is,
leaving body on auspicious day is also good, right? Because
yeah.
everyone, they thinks like, they left her body on the Kartika Somvaram, and it's very auspicious because she was chanting Lord Shiva mantra, like, since 2 months. So everyone was saying, so, but why people they say like this also? Maybe if somebody dies in auspicious day also, if they chant, they will go back to Godhead. That we need to understand, right, Mataji?
Yes, going back to Godhead also depends on many other factors. But yes, they do get the credit of leaving their bodies on auspicious days.
Like it says here, Padma Puran, the pious results obtained by bathing in the holy places and giving all charities is not even equal to 1/10,000,000th part of the result obtained by following the vow of Kartik. So in Kartik, if someone leaves, then with devotees chanting and things like that, 1/10,000,000th means that you take one part, cut it into 1,000 pieces, then take 1/1000th of the part, cut it into 10,000 pieces. That is 1/10,000,000th, is not even equal.
Yes. How great
whether we
Kartik
give
Vrata is.
charity or bathing in the holy places. So Kartik is so auspicious.
Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you all so very much for your beautiful comments. And please forgive us that today we are taking your permission early.
I probably saw Balki Prabhu had unmuted, and maybe you had a question.
Lavanya.
Sorry.
Lavanya Mataji.
Yeah.
Lavanya, you had a question, Lavanya?
No, Mataji, tomorrow I'll ask. Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you so
Okay,
much,
thank you.
Lavanya. So with all of your permission,
Thank you,
we
Mataji.
take your permission today to end the session here, and we will definitely continue our realization session tomorrow. Please forgive us for
Just for today.
Please forgive us. Thank you all so much.
Krishna Sharanam Prabhu, you're back. Are you? I just saw you for a moment. But if you'd like to share, that would be okay too.
No, Prabhu, you were saying you have to cut short today. So I was just saying thank you for your wonderful class. Nice bhajan. So that's all I had to say today.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Vansha
Kalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Jai.
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 Thank you, Mataji, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Hare
so much. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Shri Radhe Ji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much, Hare Prasad Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hey Radha, Hari Bol.
Radha. Say Jai. Say Jai. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.